Alrighty, this tutorial is specifically for tinkering with some of the actual tracking. We're not talking hotkeys or customization. This is straight up, we're going to be tinkering with the tracking values. And to do that, you're going to go to the gear and then this avatar gear up here. We are going to tinker with movement config. So right now, if my model leans side to side, like it doesn't move. I mean, the feet make steppies, but other than that, like it's not actually floating in space. If you turn config on, when I lean close to the camera, he gets closer. When I lean away, it shrinks. And when I move, it kind of does this extra floaty movement. That's great for when you're, usually using the model and don't need the feet to be planted firmly in one spot. It kind of makes your model feel like it's got a little bit of extra movement. So I'm going to go ahead and leave movement config on because we like that. Physics, you can change the physics. He's got a little bit of physics. You can make those physics go insane. Like, you can make them, or you can make them totally static. He doesn't have physics at all. So, tinkering with the physics, you can also do wind. Like, there's just like a pretend breeze that just does movement. I'm not sure about what dragging physics is. But right now we're going to look at these are all, let me show you the default tracking select. So we're looking at everything that's default. This is stuff that VTube Studio sets up by like automatically. And this coordinates each of your tracked facial features with a function. So for example, I open left. So the camera is actually seeing, when I open my eye. So it can see when I close the left eye versus when I close the right eye, or when I raise my brows, or if my mouth form is or. So these are the things that are tracking. And so you can tinker with those. So you could say, like, left eye open. Like, when I blink, sometimes the model doesn't blink very well. I can turn auto blink on so that he'll blink, automatically, as well as when I blink. Or I can lower the input value. So right now, if my eyes are closed, I can't read what this says. I think it says 0.3. So let's set this to the max value to be 0.5. Now when I blink, it snaps really fast. Let's try changing it to 0.3 here. Now the eyes look kind of lazy-lidded. So you can tinker around with these values to try and figure out what works for you. I'm going to set this back to 0. And right now I have the max set to 1.9. You can set it to just 1. But we'll do 1.9. You can tinker with these to try and get different blinking effects. Like right now as I blink, he's not blinking a ton unless I close my eyes. And that also camera position, my camera's not in a great spot. And you can change functions of all of these things. So let's say the model leans too far to the right and to the left. Like you keep like leaning out of your screen, or you you keep clipping off the edge like this, and you don't want to do that. You can lower the amount of this body lean. So max is 10. Go away, Nat. Nat's working on a VR chat model. Go away, Nat. Thank you. We can set it to -5 and +5 instead. So now he doesn't lean near as much. We could set it to 1 and -1. And now his body doesn't lean at all. So by default, though, I'm going to go ahead and leave it at the 10, -10. That way you have a good range of movement, but you can always lower the amount that gets output. 10 is max, and anything lower than 10 means he's going to go less than this and less than this. Because this is +10, this is -10. But now I'm going to show you the custom ones that I've made. These ones I've created specifically, and I have them written out as brow Y, I form surprise. So what this does is when I lift my brows, when the brows move on the Y axis, which is vertical, up, down, from the top of the screen to the bottom. Oops, I keep gesturing with my hand and activating my animation. When I raise my brow up, it lifts the upper eyelid as well as the second function, this one, eyeball shrink. This one specifically makes the eyeball shrink. So I could set the max to 1, and so when I lift my eyebrows, they shrink more. But I have it set to 0.5 so they don't shrink quite as small. And then I also have blink ear pose. So what that is when my left eye is closed, it makes this the eye pose or ear pose parameter do a thing. So on eye close, the ear parameter is affected. So like I could set this to yeah, so you can tinker with these values to really get a different look. I'm going to set this to 0.2. So you can create, so let's see, let's do smile GGG. So if I smile, so I need my mouth smile. When it detects my mouth is smiling, I want it to output the iForm GGG. And what iForm GGG is it's when my lower eyelashes squish. So now when I smile, you know, these lower eyelids kind of go up. But it might be happening a little too much. So we can lower how effective it is. So I can set the, maybe let's do 0.5. So like, because now when my eyes are open, it's usually down here from 0 to 0.5. Or my mouth. And so now when the corners of my lips go up, that makes the smile happen. But only when I'm like really trying to smile. And if I want, I can make it the max output a little less. So now it doesn't do the full form. Or I can set it to like 0.1. So now when I smile, it barely affects it at all compared to, you know, full 1. So definitely feel free to experiment, tinker with these. There are a lot of other functions in this model. These are all the actual rigged parameters. Or no, these are tracking parameters, my bad. And then output is everything that I've physically rigged in here. So like you could activate the blush by smiling if you wanted to, or you could control any parameter can be controlled by a tracked function. It's just whether or not you think it's distracting or if it's useful. So yeah, that's a little bit about that. I don't know if you can hear my stomach grumbling, but I'm really hungry. I think that's about all for this tutorial, so hopefully somebody finds that useful and insightful. I have no idea. That's about the extent of my knowledge in VTube Studio. Everything else, you're just going to have to like tinker with these. Go ahead and explore, watch some YouTube tutorials, watch a ton of YouTube tutorials. Somebody on YouTube knows how to do this stuff way better than I do. I just make the models. I just make models. Like, I'm not like the pro at the VTube Studio thing. Besides, you know, setting hotkeys, customization, and making them customizable in VTube Studio. Like, I do the back end. This is more of a front end thing, end user thing that you can do. So have fun, experiment, and yeah, I'm gonna close this one now. Bye.